Hello everyone, Dr. James Whittaker here, and today I'm going to share with you an ancient Japanese samurai technique that can dramatically increase your bedroom stamina and transform your sexual performance. If you've been struggling with premature ejaculation, lack of endurance, or simply want to last longer and satisfy your partner more completely, this centuries-old method could be exactly what you need. What I'm about to reveal isn't some modern invention or pharmaceutical solution. This is a time-tested technique that Japanese samurai warriors used to develop extraordinary physical and mental control, including mastery over their sexual energy and stamina. These warriors understood that true strength came not just from physical power, but from the ability to control their body's responses under pressure. The technique I'm going to share with you today combines ancient Eastern wisdom with modern scientific understanding of how sexual stamina actually works. It's completely natural, requires no equipment or medications, and can be practiced anywhere in complete privacy. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how this samurai method works, why it's so effective for building bedroom stamina, and how you can start using it immediately to develop the kind of sexual control and endurance that will transform your intimate relationships. The ancient origins of samurai sexual control. To understand why this technique is so powerful, we need to explore its fascinating historical origins. In feudal Japan, samurai warriors were expected to demonstrate complete mastery over all aspects of their physical and mental being. This included not only combat skills and emotional control, but also sexual discipline and stamina. The samurai code, known as Bushido, emphasized the cultivation of inner strength, self-discipline, and the ability to remain calm and focused under intense pressure. These same principles that made samurai formidable warriors also made them exceptional lovers who could maintain complete control during intimate encounters. Ancient Japanese texts describe specific training methods that samurai used to develop what they called sexual ki, the life force energy that governs sexual function and stamina. They understood that premature ejaculation and lack of sexual control were symptoms of scattered mental energy and weak internal discipline. The technique I'm going to share was traditionally taught by master warriors to their students as part of comprehensive training in body mastery. It was considered so valuable that it was often kept secret within specific schools or families, passed down only to the most dedicated students. What makes this technique particularly relevant today is how perfectly it addresses the modern challenges men face with sexual performance. The same mental and physical pressures that samurai had to overcome in battle are similar to the performance anxiety and lack of control that affect men's sexual stamina today. Understanding the science of sexual stamina. Before revealing the specific technique, it's important to understand the science behind sexual stamina and why the samurai approach is so effective. Sexual endurance depends on several interconnected factors: mental control and focus, physical muscle control, breathing patterns and nervous system regulation, and hormonal balance and energy management. Most men struggling with stamina issues experience what's called the point of no return, that moment when ejaculation becomes inevitable. This occurs when sexual excitement builds too rapidly without proper control mechanisms in place. The samurai understood that this point of no return could be controlled through specific mental and physical practices that regulate the body's sexual response. Modern science has confirmed their intuitive understanding through research on the autonomic nervous system and sexual function. When you become sexually aroused, your sympathetic nervous system activates, increasing heart rate, blood pressure, and muscle tension. If this activation becomes too intense too quickly, it triggers the ejaculatory reflex before you want it to occur. The samurai technique works by training your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response that promotes calm, controlled function. By learning to activate this system during sexual activity, you can maintain high levels of arousal while preventing premature ejaculation. This approach addresses stamina from multiple angles simultaneously. It trains your mind to maintain focus and control under pleasure, strengthens the physical muscles involved in sexual control, regulates breathing to manage nervous system activation, and teaches energy management to maintain stamina without exhaustion. The core samurai technique, breath of the mountain. Now let me reveal the specific samurai technique that can transform your sexual stamina. This method is called Breath of the Mountain, a name that reflects the steady, unshakable strength that this practice develops. The technique combines three elements that work synergistically: specific breathing patterns that regulate nervous system activation, targeted muscle engagement that builds physical control, and mental focus techniques that maintain calm awareness during intense pleasure. Here's how to perform the Breath of the Mountain technique. Begin by sitting comfortably in a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and take several normal breaths to settle into a relaxed state. Now inhale slowly and deeply through your nose for a count of 4, feeling your lower abdomen expand rather than your chest. This is crucial. The breath should be deep and low, filling your belly completely. At the peak of your inhalation, gently contract your pelvic floor muscles, the same muscles you would use to stop urination midstream. Hold this contraction along with your breath for a count of 4. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6 while maintaining the pelvic floor contraction. At the end of the exhale, release the muscle contraction and pause for a count of 2 before beginning the next cycle. Repeat this complete cycle. Inhale for 4 while contracting pelvic muscles. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6 while maintaining contraction. Pause for 2. Continue this pattern for 10 to 15 complete cycles during your initial practice sessions. Before we continue with advanced applications of this technique, I want to ask you to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I regularly share ancient wisdom and traditional practices that modern science has validated for men's health and sexual performance. This knowledge could transform your intimate life in ways you never imagined possible. Understanding the physiological mechanisms. The Breath of the Mountain technique works through several sophisticated physiological mechanisms that the samurai understood intuitively, but that modern science can now explain in detail. The controlled breathing pattern activates your vagus nerve, which is the main pathway of your parasympathetic nervous system. When properly stimulated, the vagus nerve creates a calming effect that counteracts the sexual excitement that leads to premature ejaculation. The specific breathing rhythm, inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 6, has been shown to optimize heart rate variability, a measure of nervous system balance that correlates with better stress management and physical control. The pelvic floor muscle contractions serve multiple purposes. They strengthen the muscles that are directly involved in ejaculatory control, improve blood flow to the sexual organs, and create a mind-body connection that enhances your awareness of sexual arousal levels. The mental focus required to coordinate breathing and muscle contraction trains your ability to maintain conscious control during intense physical sensations, exactly the skill needed for sexual stamina. Regular practice of this technique creates lasting changes in your nervous system's response to sexual stimulation, building the physiological foundation for extended sexual performance. Let me share a compelling case study that demonstrates the power of this ancient technique. I recently worked with Hiroshi, a 35-year-old marketing executive who had been struggling with premature ejaculation for several years. Hiroshi described his problem as embarrassing and relationship damaging. He typically lasted only 1 to 2 minutes during intercourse, which left both him and his wife frustrated and unsatisfied. He had tried various over-the-counter products and techniques without significant improvement. What made Hiroshi's case particularly interesting was his Japanese heritage. His grandfather had actually mentioned ancient practices for warrior self-control, but Hiroshi had never taken these stories seriously until his sexual problems became severe. When I introduced Hiroshi to the Breath of the Mountain technique, he was immediately intrigued by its connection to his cultural heritage. I taught him the basic method and recommended he practice it twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening, for at least 15 minutes per session. Hiroshi was skeptical that something so simple could address a problem he'd been struggling with for years, but he committed to practicing the technique consistently for 6 weeks to give it a fair evaluation. Hiroshi followed a structured practice protocol that maximized the technique's effectiveness. He began each morning with 15 minutes of the Breath of the Mountain exercise, focusing on perfect coordination between breathing and muscle control. In the evening, he performed another 15-minute session, this time incorporating visualization techniques where he imagined maintaining perfect control during sexual activity. This mental rehearsal component proved crucial for translating practice benefits into real-world performance. The results were remarkable and occurred faster than either of us expected. Within the first week, Hiroshi reported feeling more generally calm and centered throughout the day, an unexpected but welcome side effect of the regular parasympathetic nervous system activation. By the second week, Hiroshi began noticing improved awareness of his arousal levels during self-stimulation. He could sense the approach of the point of no return much earlier, giving him more opportunity to apply control techniques. The real breakthrough came in week 3 when Hiroshi first applied the breathing technique during actual intercourse. By using modified versions of the breath pattern during intimate moments, he was able to extend his performance from 1 to 2 minutes to over 8 minutes, a dramatic improvement that transformed his confidence in his relationship. After 6 weeks of consistent practice, Hiroshi routinely lasted 12 to 15 minutes during intercourse and reported complete confidence in his ability to control his sexual response. His wife noticed the changes not just in duration, but in his overall presence and confidence during intimate moments. Advanced applications during intimacy. Once you've mastered the basic breath of the mountain technique through solo practice, the next step is learning to apply it during actual sexual activity. This requires adapting the method to work seamlessly with intimate encounters. During foreplay and the early stages of sexual activity, use a modified version of the breathing pattern. Inhale for 3 counts, hold for 2, exhale for 4. This maintains the parasympathetic activation while being less noticeable to your partner. When you feel your arousal approaching higher levels, temporarily slow down physical activity and focus intensely on the breathing pattern. Use this as a reset technique that allows arousal to decrease slightly before continuing. The pelvic floor contractions become particularly important during penetration. Rather than constant contraction, use rhythmic pulses, contract for 2 to 3 seconds, release for 2 to 3 seconds, while maintaining the controlled breathing pattern. Learn to recognize your personal arousal scale from 1 to 10 and apply the technique most intensively when you reach level 7 or 8. This prevents you from reaching the point of no return at level 9 to 10. With practice, you can use subtle versions of this technique that are completely invisible to your partner, allowing you to maintain control without interrupting the natural flow of intimacy. While the breathing and physical aspects of the breath of the mountain technique are crucial, the mental training component is equally important for developing true sexual mastery. The samurai understood that physical techniques were only as effective as the mental discipline behind them. The mental aspect involves developing what the samurai called mushin, a state of calm, focused awareness that remains stable even during intense physical sensations. This is the opposite of the scattered, overwhelmed mental state that typically accompanies premature ejaculation. During practice sessions, focus on maintaining calm, observational awareness of all sensations without becoming emotionally reactive to them. Notice the pleasure without being overwhelmed by it. Acknowledge the building excitement without losing control to it. Develop the ability to mentally step back and observe your sexual response from a calm, centered place. This creates psychological distance from intense sensations and allows you to maintain conscious control over your physical responses. Practice visualization techniques where you imagine maintaining perfect control during various sexual scenarios. Mental rehearsal strengthens the neural pathways involved in sexual self-control and builds confidence in your ability to perform. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Are you interested in trying this ancient samurai technique? Have you struggled with sexual stamina issues that conventional approaches haven't addressed? What appeals to you most about combining ancient wisdom with modern understanding? Your engagement helps me create more content about traditional practices that can transform men's health. One of the great advantages of the breath of the mountain technique is how easily it integrates with modern lifestyle and routines. Unlike treatments that require appointments, medications, or special equipment, this practice can be done anywhere and anytime. Morning practice can become part of your regular routine. Many men find it an excellent way to start the day with calm focus and confidence. The parasympathetic activation provides stress resilience benefits that extend throughout your entire day. Evening practice serves as an excellent wind-down routine that promotes better sleep quality while building sexual stamina. The relaxation response helps transition your nervous system from the day's stresses to restorative rest. The technique can be practiced during commutes, work breaks, or any quiet moments throughout the day. Even 5 to 10 minutes of practice provides cumulative benefits for building sexual control and overall stress management. For busy schedules, the practice can be condensed into shorter but more frequent sessions. 3 5-minute sessions can be as effective as one 15-minute session for maintaining the neural training benefits. When first learning the breath of the mountain technique, men sometimes encounter challenges that can be easily overcome with proper guidance and adjustment of the practice. If you find it difficult to coordinate the breathing with pelvic floor contractions, start by practicing each element separately. Master the breathing pattern first, then add the muscle contractions once the breath rhythm becomes automatic. Some men initially feel lightheaded during the breathing practice. This usually indicates breathing too forcefully or too rapidly. Focus on gentle, smooth breaths rather than forced or exaggerated breathing patterns. If you can't feel your pelvic floor muscles clearly, try stopping your urine flow midstream several times to identify the correct muscles. You can also practice contracting your anal muscles, which engages the same general muscle group. Mental distraction during practice is common initially. Rather than fighting wandering thoughts, gently acknowledge them and return focus to the breathing pattern. This builds the mental discipline that transfers to sexual situations. Understanding realistic timelines and progress markers helps maintain motivation and track improvement with the breath of the mountain technique. Different men experience benefits at different rates based on their starting point and practice consistency. Most men notice initial relaxation and stress reduction benefits within the first week of consistent practice. These general nervous system improvements create the foundation for sexual stamina enhancement. Improved awareness of arousal levels typically develops within 2 to 3 weeks of regular practice. This increased sensitivity to your sexual response patterns is crucial for applying control techniques effectively. Measurable improvements in sexual stamina usually occur within 4 to 6 weeks of consistent daily practice. Initial improvements might be modest, extending from 1 to 2 minutes to 3 to 4 minutes, but provide important confidence boosts. Significant stamina improvements, lasting 8 to 12 minutes or longer, typically develop after 6 to 8 weeks of dedicated practice. However, the mental confidence and control often improve much earlier in the process. Long-term mastery, where the technique becomes automatic and effortless, usually requires 3 to 6 months of consistent practice. At this level, sexual control becomes natural rather than effortful. While the breath of the mountain technique originates from ancient samurai training, modern scientific research has validated many of its core principles and mechanisms. Studies on controlled breathing techniques have shown consistent benefits for nervous system regulation, stress management, and sexual function. Research specifically on diaphragmatic breathing demonstrates improvements in autonomic nervous system balance. Pelvic floor muscle training, which is a core component of this technique, has extensive scientific support for improving sexual function and ejaculatory control in men. Multiple clinical studies have shown significant improvements in sexual stamina with regular pelvic floor exercises. Mindfulness and body awareness practices, which are integral to the samurai approach, have been shown to improve sexual satisfaction and control in numerous research studies. The combination of breathing, muscle training, and mental focus that characterizes this technique addresses all the major physiological and psychological factors involved in sexual stamina and control. The ultimate goal of the breath of the mountain technique isn't just temporary improvement in sexual stamina, but the development of true sexual mastery that continues to improve over time. As your practice deepens, you'll develop increasingly subtle awareness of your sexual energy and response patterns. This allows for more sophisticated control techniques that work with your body's natural rhythms rather than fighting against them. Advanced practitioners often report that sexual activity becomes more enjoyable and satisfying as control improves. Rather than being focused on lasting longer, they can fully experience and appreciate intimate moments without anxiety about performance. The confidence that comes from reliable sexual control often improves other aspects of relationships and general self-esteem. Men frequently report feeling more masculine and confident in all areas of life. Long-term practice of these techniques can lead to enhanced overall health benefits beyond just sexual function, including better stress management, improved sleep quality, and greater emotional resilience. The ancient Japanese samurai technique I've shared with you today, the breath of the mountain, represents a powerful natural approach to developing sexual stamina and control that has been tested and refined over centuries. Unlike quick fixes or artificial solutions, this technique builds genuine mastery by training the fundamental physiological and psychological systems involved in sexual performance. It requires no medications, equipment, or expensive treatments, just consistent practice and patience. Hiroshi's case demonstrates how effective this approach can be when applied consistently and correctly. The transformation from 1 to 2 minutes to 12 to 15 minutes of sexual stamina represents not just improved performance, but restored confidence and relationship satisfaction. The key to success with this technique is understanding that it's a skill that develops over time through regular practice. Start with the basic breathing and muscle coordination exercises. Practice them daily for at least 15 minutes, and be patient as your nervous system adapts and strengthens. Begin your practice tomorrow morning with a simple 10-minute session of the breath of the mountain technique. Focus on perfect coordination between breathing and pelvic floor contractions, and pay attention to the immediate calming effects on your nervous system. Remember that the samurai developed this level of self-control through dedicated daily practice, and the same commitment will serve you well in developing sexual mastery. Every practice session builds the foundation for better sexual performance and confidence. If you found this ancient wisdom valuable and want to explore more traditional approaches to men's health and sexual performance, please hit that like button and share this video with other men who could benefit from this knowledge. Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos about time-tested techniques that can transform your health and vitality naturally. Your sexual confidence and stamina are worth the investment in consistent practice. Take action today to begin developing the kind of sexual mastery that the ancient samurai possessed. With patience, practice, and dedication, you can transform your sexual performance and experience the confidence that comes from true self-control. Thank you for watching, and remember, the path to sexual mastery begins with a single breath. Start your journey today, and I'll see you in the next video.